Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day. Welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Oftentimes, citizens sit back and lay the blame solely at the feet of their elected leaders for mismanaging their resources. However, they too have a duty to ensure that the nation's patrimony is protected for the sake of the next generation. This is a position of Kenyan anti-corruption legend Professor Patrick Lock Otieno Lumumba, who made a special appearance on the Glenn Lal Show on Saturday last. Professor Lumumba, in prefacing his point about safeguarding a nation's wealth for future generations, explained that bad deals can be entered into by governments who are poorly advised by hired negotiators. In fact, he noted that many countries find themselves in such a dilemma. He shared that he was recently involved in negotiating a contract for Liberia with a Chinese company. That company, he said, supplied the agreement and included a clause for any disputes between the parties to be resolved in Beijing. The anti-corruption genius said he objected to this provision, adding that had this not been properly vetted, the country would have accepted for resolutions to be decided in that company's home country, or, and I quote, the home of the hyenas, where the people can be eaten alive. During a recent outreach in Malgratu Mir-Zorgan area, Region 3, President Ali announced that the government had secured a $350 million loan from Qatar to extend the schooner to Crane 4-lane road all the way to Parika. Last year, September, the Ministry of Housing and Water, Central Housing and Planning Authority, signed $11.8 billion in contracts to build a new 4-lane highway connecting Schooner to Crane. The 4-lane project, as reported on, has been divided into 8 lots and will measure some 4.1 kilometers of dual carriageway reinforced concrete road. Some of the features of the highway include an emergency lane, medians, the rehabilitation of 2.4 kilometers of roadways, 2 roundabouts, 11 reinforced concrete box culverts, 36 pre-stressed bridges, road signage and markings. And another student who was badly injured in the Madia Secondary School's female dormitory on May 21st that claimed the lives of 19 children initially died yesterday. Dead is 14-year-old Sharana Daniels of Mykobi Village, Region 8, who died at around 10 hours while receiving treatment at the Georgetown Public Hospital. She was the lone victim who had remained hospitalized in the ICU. Daniels' death takes the death toll to 20. In a press statement yesterday, the Ministry of Health said that the 14-year-old girl was the first girl to be air-dashed to Georgetown on the morning of May 22nd for treatment. Daniels was listed as critical before being air-dashed to the Georgetown Public Hospital and remained critical until her death. Economist and transparency advocate Raymond Gaskin believes that Guyana's gas-to-energy project could be disastrous for the country's economy. Gaskin explained that he submitted a number of questions to Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh, and Commissioner of Information Charles Ramson since April 25th, but got no response to date. Gaskin's questions sought to scrutinize the total cost of the project and owners of the separate components, Guyana's share of the total cost, availability of a feasibility study showing capital and operation costs, among others, and the proposed rates for resale of the electricity. He also queried about who would take responsibility for any environmental issues and available insurance for the project. Importantly, the advocate also asked the leaders to clarify whether ExxonMobil would enjoy tax-free activities in the gas project and the role of the Auditor General in the initiative. In other news, Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire dismissed the case filed by Chief Elections Scrutineer Carol Joseph to block the current voters list from being used during the upcoming local government elections. Justice George Wiltshire outlined that many unsubstantiated statements were provided to the court during the hearings. The Chief Justice said the submissions made by the applicant were not enough to challenge the voters' list published by the Guyana Elections Commission. And several teachers joined the representatives of the Guyana Teachers Union on Tuesday to protest for higher salaries. The protest commenced around 10 hours in front of the Ministry of Finance's office on Main Street. Some held placards saying everything else is increased except teachers' wages and salaries, and we need our salaries to be adjusted. The protest centered around the previous government's failure to honor certain commitments of debunching monies and an overdue payment of a difference of 2% in a 2016 and 2018 agreement. Protesters also called out the current government for its alleged reluctance to resolve the issues and failing to examine the new proposal submitted by the Guyana Teachers Union multiple times since 2020. However, most teachers are extremely concerned about receiving higher salaries. Teachers who protested on Tuesday said that trainee teachers who are still in college receive $83,000 monthly salary, while qualified teachers' salaries start at $100,000 monthly. Most teachers have to work extra jobs, which include at nights and weekends, to get additional income to maintain their families. President of the GTU, Mark Light, raised this issue during the protest. And moving on, the body of a Port Kaieteur man was on Monday found floating in a mining pit at Perseverance Back Dam, Northwest District, Region 1, 2 days after he disappeared in the area. The dead man, identified as 29-year-old Kenneth Dennis, went missing Saturday morning while he and his workmates were transporting fuel to their mining camp. And to wrap things up, we turn the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
It is Wednesday. It is May 31st. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook. Well, we're almost done with May, but we've still got some little pieces of business to complete, and we're well on our way to half year in 2023. From last Thursday's Kaieteur News, there's this big, bold, red lettered caption. ExxonMobil and partners raked in 1.23 trillion Guyana dollars in profits from Sabrok Block in 2022, more than double what Guyana received in profits and royalties from 2019 to April 2023. Exxon gets more than twice. In the simplest terms, Exxon gets more than twice in 1 year, in a single year, what we receive in almost 4 years. Now they tell me, Exxon tells me, the vice president tells me, the man in charge of our oil, the president tells me in all Guyana, that we have a half and half partnership. We have a half and half partnership and one side of the partnership gets 5.9 billion US dollars, or 1.23 trillion Ghana dollars, and we get less than half of that. They get that in 1 year, and we get less than half of that when we add up 4 years of profits and royalties coming to us. That's not a partnership. That's not a partnership at all. That sounds to me like some kind of crime. That sounds to me as an abomination. And I'm sorry to use that huge word. It sounds to me as an obscenity, something that you hide away in some dark corner, something that none of us should be speaking about. We should have something that is fair, that is reasonable, that allows Exxon to make money, nice money, sweet money, but we also are not straggling behind, picking up a jill here and a bit down there and some scraps that they throw along the line after robbing us, after ripping us off. This is the reality that our oil has come down to, that Exxon can make money like if it's a bank, like if it's a network of banks, whilst we're a charity case. We're like in a Salvation Army soup line. You know that line that they have at Christmas time with the bell ringing and a pot on a tripod? That's Guyana. That's me and that's you lining up with our hands stretched out for whatever pittance that Exxon throws our way and tell us, hey, listen, this is the best contract ever, and you better be satisfied with that, because if you don't, you're going to cause a lot of investment stoppages and all that kind of nonsense that we keep hearing over and over again to drive fear into us, to scare us. No such thing is going to happen. Exxon ain't walking away from here. But Exxon, as it stays here, should be compelled by the president, by the vice president, by the opposition leader to step forward to the table of discussion, and we only walk away when we have what is of more benefit, tangible, important, significant benefits than we have now. Like Exxon paying some taxes, like us increasing that royalty percentage, that the expenses of which we don't know anything about, this insult, we are paying the expenses, and we are not even allowed to see the sheets with the expenses there to make a determination whether Exxon is cheating us. How can that be? Why should that ever be allowed to be in existence? These are the things that really strike us in the head and should be things of the past. The president, the vice president, the opposition leaders should all be working with one head and with one voice to get more for us, so that Exxon will make its billions, but we will make billions also in the same time frame. If Exxon make billions in a year, we too must make some billions in that same year. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Thank you for listening to the National Outlook.
Nothing to discuss, oh, cause I did win by default and without any doubt, oh. I'm a me happy adult, oh. I no go feed the girl, I no go feed the guys out, oh. I'm a mind that's really talk, oh. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulate my love, oh. I know holy, and I know that get both like the Baba fly, oh. My eye, oh. And the people and shadow. And the people and shadow. 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 And the people and shadow. Shadow. And the people and shadow. Shadow. And the people and shadow.
You make me wanna run, run, run. Heart be racing like a drum, drum, drum. Feel it in my soul. Leave me wanting more. You make me wanna run, run, run. Heart be racing like a drum, drum, drum. Don't know where we'll go. Don't know where we'll go. Yeah.
You don't need to run away. Stay right next to me. Stay right next to me. But he can wanna go where we go. He can wanna go where we go. But he can wanna go where we go. Just stay right next to me. We could go anywhere. I'm ready to take you on a cruise. Girl, you are so beautiful. Love to see you smiling. The love we have is never ending. Tell me how you're feeling.
You make me wanna run, run, run. Heart be racing like a drum, drum, drum. Feel it in my soul. Leave me wanting more.
Up and up, up and up. Up and up, up and up. Up and up, up and up.
Everybody up. Yeah, give them an update. Everybody up. We love you look. Yeah, give them an update. Come me door. Spend a couple dub play. Make the club shake. Living legend on the asphalt. Know the must stay. Slim gal swing the have enough weight. Everybody up, up. Give them an update. Enough shatters. Fear run out, just wait. Tough crackers. Them badness a cupcake. And up clappers. A foot a duct tape. Girl love backers. Top girl straight how the swamp look. Bank book a chuck weight. A big room, a old room, no freak. A clean sweep. Must wake, no escape. 450. Now for them a change up. Nothing could change us. Syndicate DHW. It's up for my haters. No time for no failure. If I that to know I wait time, who know I go there I wait long. So right now me there on a journey. Give my heart to some people when I'm heavy. And I give my heart to a girl when I deserve it. And at them same one end up at me. My mother talk about me no hair. She said save yourself but can't nobody not gonna save ya. So no more hunting for the fool like some. 450. Now for them I change up, but nothing could change us. Syndicate DHW, it's up for my haters. No time for no failure. If I that to know I wait pan, who know I go there I wait long. So right now me there on a journey. Give my heart to some people when I'm heavy. I give my heart to a girl when I deserve it. And at them same one end up at me. My mother talk about me no hair. She said save yourself but can't nobody not gonna save ya. So no more hunting for the fool like some craver. But see the hypocrites I talk about me no hair. I better you live your life. No matter what you do, them I go criticize. You start jive and I them I say hype. And when we did a walk for them so we broke the life. Brother make up on no mind that we the pan and wave. Don't hate cover up on her name. We there for rain, cool the carrot on my chain. Still loyal to my dogs, don't change. Till my day in I'm grave, that we there on a journey. Give my heart to some people when I'm worthy. I give my heart to a girl when I deserve it. And she see me wanting up hurt me. My mother talk about me no hair. She said save yourself but can't nobody not gonna save ya. So now I'm on for the fool like some craver. I say the hypocrites I talk about me no hair. Them I walk me down.
Talk about life changes. Remember this man have to change bodies. Know me out to my for me. So tell a boy just try stop this Buddha who make bad flip but me younger the best. Just my dog everything well kiss. Come my blessings and I hits for hits. so many women I miss. Yeah, me see the right path. Farm when I come from, long life I stand pipe outside, pan the dirty asphalt. Know when I want, I'ma go for that dog. Disappointment, them see but me, I look on a star. Up in the sky, up in the soul light. If you don't start, when I build for that dog. Now them from them, I'm talk about life changes. Remember days, man, I have a dream about this.
Lose a couple friends and start with more. Greatness, man, I ignore. The outside, man, no ignore. Clap. I don't drop it like a Babylon where we live poor. My life sweet like a ensure. Blessings are flow and we get more. You ma fi watch you a elevate. Ma fi watch you a elevate. They ma fi watch you a elevate. You ma fi watch you a elevate. Hard when time. You see a shop for this buffet. Sit down and a go on while the vibes and a